Okay, hello, I'm Bridget Bag and I'm with Career Innovations. Welcome to our Job Seeker Q&A session. This session is recorded, just like many of our other sessions. They are uploaded to our YouTube channel, which is Career Innovations, all one word. There are past sessions that you can review that had questions. You can actually look into the description and look at the questions before you listen to the entire segment, because some of them can go a little bit over 45 minutes, some of them are a little bit over an hour, so you can get insight on what the session will be about. I do put the questions in the description. This is your first time joining us. This is GoToWebinar. You can ask questions one of two ways depending on how you logged in. You can raise your hand. I will unmute your mic if you did put in your audio code or audio PIN number, and you can ask your questions verbally. If you prefer not to ask them verbally, you can type your questions below in the box, and I will answer those following the questions that were submitted prior to the workshop. That's the key word. If you send your questions in, and I give you a section in the registration to ask a question prior to the workshop, I have time to put them on the slide, so that way you'll get a better and more detailed answer versus something that I may just is informed, but it just may be something that comes off the top of my head. I'll probably give you a little bit better answer if I have time to research it. Just a quick overview about who I am and who Career Innovations is. I'm the Director of Staffing and Recruiting and the founder of Career Innovations. And please forgive me, I'm kind of hoarse. I'm just getting over a cold, so my voice may go in and out. I find Career Innovations are true innovators. We find innovative ways to find top talent. My passion is organizational change. I truly believe that organizational culture, it actually starts with the company's core values. It's the foundation for attracting and retaining top talent. One of the reasons why I offer Q&A sessions is that, as a recruiting firm, we cannot place every single person that sends us their resume. And I've come in contact with some outstanding candidates that unfortunately I may not have an opening for. So I want to offer some type of resource or some type of tool that can allow you to be self-sufficient and be able to find positions on your own, as well as network with decision makers, the same people that I network with, to get these openings and get yourself in front of the people that are going to be giving you the job. One of my favorite quotes, and I like to start off each session with a quote, and I've used this several times because I really do like it. Good is the enemy of great. Few people attain great lives partly because it's just so easy to settle for a good one. That's actually by Jim Collins. The book is Good to Great. It's a great book to read. It shows how failing companies and not so much failing companies actually turn their companies around to become very profitable companies that we actually utilize today. It's the same method that people can use on a professional and personal level. I know a lot of people didn't like, I give out surveys at the end of this, and I had two or three people that wanted me to get on with the questions. I usually do about a 5 or 10 minute segment, but I did get about 5 questions today, so I decided to cut out the segment. I usually do about 10 to 15 minute segment on an important topic I think job seekers need to know. But today, since we got a fair amount of questions and I want to leave time for Q&A at the end, we'll go ahead and forward with the questions. These are the questions that I received prior to the workshop. First one is, what are some websites for job search? What about resume makeovers, career coaching? Second question is, I'm an educator looking to leave the profession and pursue a future in corporate. What are the best jobs for me to look for? Next one is, what is the best way of making the most of this event and connecting with key people? The entire question was, I'm attending a business networking event and there would be close to about 200 attendees. What would be the best way to make the most out of this event and connect with key people? Since the question was lengthy, I kind of paraphrased it. The next one is I paraphrase this one too. Is should I reach out to a company for a job I've already applied to and interviewed for that is now reposted? The original question was, if this person had 2 interviews with a large insurance company about a year ago. They did not get an offer on that job. The role has now become available again, so evidently they reposted this job. This candidate does have the contact information for the recruiting coordinator and the VP that they interviewed with. So they're asking me, should they inquire about either reapplying or reach out showing their interest? So we'll get into that as well. The last questions are, what are some good interview questions to ask? I guess to me that would be more so, what are some good questions to ask in an interview, more so than what are some good interview questions. So let's go. As you all know that this is going to be informal, so please forgive me if I may have skipped over some things. I try to make this as laid back as possible. Some of the job seeker resources that are out there, if I actually had a blog on this, I put a handful of resources that were out there. This was probably about, I want to say almost a year ago. May have not been a year, probably 9 to 10 months ago. And this stuff has changed. I haven't even looked out there recently and see and look for new tools that are out there. I'm pretty sure it's more updated tools, but these tools I think are essential, and I'm just going to touch on some. The question was, what are some websites for job search? Then they were also asking about resume makeovers or career coaching. The best job seeker resources that are out there as far as websites, of course you have your standard, I'm applying online job board. So I really didn't include that because you guys already know about LinkedIn, Career Builder, Monster, Dice, depending on the industry you're in. So that's kind of, self-explanatory. These particular resources that I put up here are resources that many people don't look at as resources that job seekers can use. Most of them are used by either small to mid-sized businesses. So some people may not realize these are actually tools or resources that you can use that can actually potentially help your job search. I'm going to just touch on a couple of them that I actually separated out. The first one that I'm actually looking at is about.me, and I don't know if anyone knows about that. I found out about it about 2 years ago, and they launched in 2009, so they're not they haven't been around for years. But about.me is a platform that you can use kind of to create your own type of little website. You can register for this, and it's about.me, and you create your own URL. You can use this as a kind of a website if you want to. They provide free hosting, so it's absolutely no cost to you. I kind of played with it. Mine is on there, is nowhere near how I've seen some people's about.me's like over the top. I mean, beautiful, very creative that some people get. It's a great place to have all your external sites. Depending on the industry, I've seen engineers use it as a place to put their online portfolio. So they'll put actual examples of their work on about.me. So instead of them having to try to verbally explain something they've done, they can say, hey, go to my quote-unquote website, which is their about.me website, and they can click and actually look at their virtual online portfolio. It also has a place where you can put all your social networking websites. Like if you want to link your Facebook, your LinkedIn account, your Twitter account, your YouTube account, everything can be found in this one place. So I thought this was very nifty. I'm seeing a lot of job seekers starting to think outside the box. They're starting to make their resumes virtual. So I'm seeing people use about.me to make that virtual connection with employers. Because nowadays, where are people finding their candidates? Online. That's where it all starts. So they're finding that using this makes them much more searchable. Their names come up when you type it, and this is something that they want their employers to see. So that's pretty much the big deal. It increases your web presence. This is something that gives a personal touch to you. You have a personal URL, and it's just a way to be able to present yourself in all your experience outside just a resume. Next one is Weddle Association Directory. If I don't know if you can see, I'll actually kind of circle around it. It looks like this. If you type it into Google, you can actually go to this association directory. If anybody has been on my past workshops before, they know I always push professional associations. I don't know how many connections and how many positions that never make it to the job boards, but the people in the associations pretty much have first dibs. They know about it, and I really think that whatever industry that you're in, that you are a part of some type of industry professional related association that's inside of your craft. This particular association directory, if you don't know, because some people say, well, I don't know what professional associations are out there besides, 2 or 3. This particular directory is a one-of-a-kind database. It has over 9,000 job boards, social media sites, career portals, aggregators, and employment-related search engines. This is the place where they do job ad distribution. They have recruitment blogs and recruiter resources. It's so huge that they have a database that allows you to filter by industry. So you can go in there and you can filter down, hey, if I'm in the marketing industry, I can type in marketing. It's going to show me all the associations dealing with marketing. You can go to these associations to see if they have a local chapter in your area. Most of the huge ones, I've just used marketing for example. One I can think off the top of my head is the AMA, American Marketing Association. They have a chapter in Charlotte, and it boggles my mind when I speak to a marketing professional and they're not a part of that organization. That's like the largest, oldest marketing association in the U.S. and you're not a part of it. I can tell you the VP of that company of marketing is a member of this organization. So just wanted to keep your options open. So what's the big deal with this? It's a great platform for you to, find associations in your area, find associations that are related to your industry, and being able to connect with decision makers that may be a part of these associations. Next one I like AngelList. I love the Fortune 500s, but I love the startups, and a lot of people really underestimate a startup company. When I hear about people that are looking for jobs, they aim high. They want those household names, and that's great. But guess what? So does everybody else. So you're competing with a lot of people, and some companies out there that may be a startup today may be your next Facebook tomorrow. You just don't know. And I've seen, startups that you never heard of, excuse me, blow up overnight, with success. So that was the same thing with Twitter. No one heard about Twitter, five or so years ago. Now that's the place everyone wants to work. So really do not underestimate the startups. AngelList is a platform for startups. It allows you to browse startups, allows you to see companies in their funding. Why is that important to you? You want to make sure that if you are going to work for a startup, they're funded and they're somewhat stable. And it even goes down to when their funding is rendered and who's the lenders of their funding. So you kind of have a good outlook of, how much money they're working with. And I've seen some startup companies that are just competitive as, if not more competitive as, Fortune 500 companies as well when it's talking about pay. A lot of people neglect startups because they think, well, you know what, they're not going to pay as much. Some does hold that some of that does hold truth. But on the other side of the apple, a lot of these startups also may offer either equity in their company or some other type of incentive. But I can guarantee you this: if you get equity in a startup that blows up, I can tell you, it's going to be much better than that 10 or 15 grand that you would have made extra at a Fortune 500. I can guarantee you that. So people that got in these startups before they blew up and actually had equity, they literally can probably walk away from their job if they wanted to. So you want to definitely take that into consideration. Next one is Seeking Alpha. I like that one. Let me see if I have that one on here. I don't see it. Write it down if I don't. It's called Seeking Alpha. The reason why I like Seeking Alpha, if you're in some type of accounting, investments, anything like that, it's a platform for investment research. It gives a broad coverage of stock, assets, any type of investment strategy. Anybody that may say, well, I'm not into investing, I'm looking for a job. What's the big deal about this? You want to know the skinny on the public company's earnings. This website allows you to look at a company on a more financial platform. So you can actually look at a company, and it goes back to any company that's public. So you're able to look at what companies are doing good in their sector, but on top of that, you can also look at their competitors. So if you're looking for a company, you may not know that their competitors are X, Y, and Z. And I've seen a lot of people uncover companies they didn't even know exist on this particular platform. And also, again, opens up your options. Another one I like is Inc. This one, Inc. right here, they always put out a list. It's called Inc. 5000. If you're not, if you don't subscribe to their newsletter, you definitely should. They also have a, what's it called, a conference every year. Inc. 5000, that's what it actually is. It's called Inc. 5000. It showcases the fastest growing privately held companies in the U.S. They extended their list to Inc. 5000. It used to be Inc. 500. But they extended it to that, and they host an event, like I said, every year, a conference and award ceremony for companies that grow the most. And I can tell you that I've looked up companies that had like 5,000% growth in 1 year. Like they may have been a company of 20, and now they're a company of, 500. It happens. The reason why this is important to you, you can reach out to these companies. You can filter the companies by location. So doesn't matter where you live, you can filter all these fast-growing companies by location, size, revenue, and industry. They also provide the company's rank, the 3-year growth percentage by the number of employees. That also gets them that standing in Inc. 5000 because they've grown so fast compared to how many numbers they may have had the previous year. Why is that good? If you're looking for opportunity, why wouldn't you want to be with a company that's growing that fast? Another one I like, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I think I have one more. Another one is Tweet Job Search, which is, you can either do Tweet My Jobs or Tweet Job Search. There's Tweet Job Search. They kind of work the same. Or Tweet Severe. That kind of works the same too. It's the world's largest job search engine, and a lot of people are not using social media. They're underestimating what employers are using to reach out to candidates. One of them is Twitter. In a nutshell, it's a job search engine just like any other job search engine, but it uses Twitter. It helps job seekers and employers find jobs by organizing your tweets. It searches the hottest hashtags. So you can actually do @tweet job search, and you can pull up different jobs that employers are putting on there directly, and some of them are attaching their direct, Twitter accounts. There's another way that you can connect to this, to those individuals. And again, it kind of cancels out the virtual noise that you have when you're on Twitter. And I don't know if you were in my last presentation, I really advise for you to use Buffer, Hootsuite, any way that can either automate or organize your social media. If not, it becomes very overwhelming. And that's why I see a lot of people don't use it, because there's just so much noise out there. And I'm going to talk about two more real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Real quick, watch that page. It's kind of like Google Alerts. I like watch that page is because if you're following a company. And kind of like what they do with LinkedIn, that you can follow a company and everything they post, they'll let you know. Watch that page, lets you know any changes that happen on a particular page. So if you're looking for a company, you can actually put in a company's, what I want to call it, not job, their career portal page, or their post page, wherever they post their jobs to. You can actually take that URL, plug it in to watch that page, and any changes that are ever made to that page, you get an email or you'll get an alert. I think they can send it to you in the form of an email or a text. A lot of people say, well, how's that different from, signing up for my alert through Career Builder or blah, 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 blah. Not every company uses Career Builder, and guess what? Not every job makes it to those job boards. So this is a great way to monitor the actual job site. The next one I really like, what was the other one? I think that was it. Odesk and Elance, things like that. Definitely use if you're if you want to have someone to look up contacts for you. You can do that as well. Get a freelancer to do that. That's if you're willing to make that type of investment. And Zoom Info, I think they give you up to 200 free contacts a month, or maybe only 50 contacts a month. I haven't used it. I haven't checked it out for a while, but I know you get so many in a month that you can use. So if you're trying to look for direct contact information, you can sign up for that, and you're able to access direct employers by company and title, and they'll give you their direct contact information. I think they only give you 50 a month or so before you have to pay, and they don't roll over. So that's something you can check out as well. And above all, I always put over here, your first line of defense will be your resume, some type of portfolio, and people call it a cover letter. Is really a letter of intent, being able to show your top accomplishments or what value you can bring. So before you even can incorporate this, make sure you have these three things in order. Because when you do reach out, you want to make sure that you're going to be sending the best representation of yourself. Let's go to the next question. So you're ready to leave. I had someone that asked, I'm an educator looking to leave the profession and pursue a future in corporate. What are the best jobs for me to look for? I'm going to just put them all up for you. Education. As an educator, I'm thinking teacher. I may take it as far as professor, someone that's, in the education field. So you're educating either as a teacher on some type of that platform. You want to get in corporate America. The transition can be pretty easy, but these are the positions I think will make the transition pretty easy. Again, everything I say is very subjective, because you always have a case where someone says that, hey, I came from this background and I got a job that's totally, 180 from what I was doing. It happens, and I really think it boils down to your network. I've seen a lot of people get opportunities that, in the back of your head, you're thinking, how the heck did they get that job? Boils down to who you know. So you're ready to leave. Some jobs I think is the easiest transition for a educator or a teacher would be a corporate trainer, a consultant, learning and development, e-learning, instructional designer, corporate side, training and development manager or specialist. Why are these easy? Because you already are coming with the experience of teaching. You already know how to put together a plan. You may call it a lesson plan in the educational world. A lesson plan for a corporate world is nothing but a curriculum or instructional, some type of instructional design layout. Now, same meeting, different, it's the same thing, different names for the industry. So if you already are a teacher, you've already exposed to teaching, you already know how to put together a lesson plan, you know how to put together objectives. This is what, this is what I'm teaching, this is what I need, for my audience to learn. This is no different from what they do in corporate America. They're doing this with the dogs. If you're an educator, again, I don't know if you're teaching, K through 12, or if you're teaching a more of a second, second education, higher education platform. But regardless, the rules stay the same. I can tell you right now, industries now are investing in e-learning. Why? It cuts the cost. They're finding that, I can bring these resources to my actual employees. I don't have to fly them out to X, Y, and Z and eat the cost. So I'm seeing a lot of companies invest into e-learning. There are a lot of startups that are designed around e-learning. A lot of software that's being developed around e-learning. You can work for a software company. They're always looking for people that know how to put together a curriculum, which is called instructional design. And they use this in corporate America. I know if you're a person that's saying, I don't want to even be associated with education, this may be a smooth transition in which you can transition into another corporate role internally. But I think this would be pretty easy to transition into. Some of the positions like instructional design may require, or they may prefer, certifications. There are many certifications that you can get online for instructional design for the corporate sector. There are many certifications that you can get for e-learning. The reason why I say that, because when I do look at job descriptions or some requirements that they look for, they do, they do want their professionals to be certified. Certified, means that depending on the program, it may only be a 8 to 12 week program. We're not talking about going back for a master's or doctor's degree. Most of these certifications really don't take that long, and nowadays they're done all virtually. So if that's what you're looking to transition to, I think that would be the easiest way to transition into the field, is staying somewhere in that type of field. Consultant I like, because there are educational consultants that actually go out both corporate and the education sector and give kind of like a organizational development or organizational review on how they should, implement different plans and policies. Since you already are working in this field, this is something that may be attractive to you. A person that's looking for a consultant may want someone that's already had, insider knowledge of, the schools or the organizations they're reaching out to. So that's why I put consultant in there as well. But I think these 5 places would be a good start. From there, you can go anywhere. Once you get onto the corporate side, it's definitely going to be easier for you to take those transferable skills in a totally different background, whether you may want to go into sales or marketing or something that may not even be related to education. But I think that probably would be the easiest transition to get in there. Next, I'm attending a business networking event, and this goes back to they have about 200 attendees. They want to know the best way to connect and network with key people at this organization. You want to first have a game plan when you go out to these events. You're probably asking, what's your game plan? Hopefully you can connect with people before the event. This not only goes for networking events or just regular job seeker events. This goes for job fairs, conferences. This goes for anything. When you go, you want to have a game plan, and if all possible, you want to know who's going to be there. And I love the way either I know Eventbrite does it and other places do. When you register, it lets you know either the companies they're going to be there, and sometimes even lets you know who signed up. The actual people that are going to be there. And if you already kind of have an idea of who's going to be there from who signed up, you definitely want to take advantage of that. Once you're able to get to the networking event, in worst case scenario, say you don't know who's going to be there. You're going to the event, so you do know something about it. You're not just randomly going to an event. So you kind of already have a background of what type of event it is. When you get there, you want to make that warm introduction, introducing yourself, and you want to listen. And a lot of people go for this elevator pitch. And I know a lot of people have been taught to do their 30-second elevator pitch. And I'm sorry, when I go to a networking event, I don't want to hear a pitch. It sounds so robotic to me when you come and you're just rattling off, in 30 seconds what you do or how amazing you are. Who cares? You know, have a normal conversation with me. So I really, don't get me wrong, you can have this elevator pitch and know the key, awesomeness about you. But at the end of the day, hold a conversation that's going to be of value to me. When I see you coming or I want to talk to you, I don't want to sense that you're kind of wanting something. And you know when you talk to people, if they're kind of, wanting something from you. I want to be able to have a pressure, stress-free conversation. So when you do this, you want to be able to talk to individuals, tell a little bit about yourself. But the biggest part of talking to anyone that you potentially may want to reach out to is to listen. Why? Because people love to talk about themselves. You already know. That's why they hype up this 30-second elevator pitch. And when you allow people to have the platform to talk about themselves, you've just made a friend. And I can tell you that right now. I've sat there and I just nod and smile, and before you know it, we're best friends. And I didn't say a word. They sat there and talked about themselves for the last 15 minutes. And next thing you know, I had their business card and the home number, cell, and everything else. Why? Because I allowed them to talk about themselves. So one thing you want to do is when you do connect is to listen. And what you're listening for is things that you can potentially give. And I've talked about this in my last workshop. Whenever you approach a relationship, regardless if this is personal or professional, you want to be able to bring something to the table. You don't want to be known as the taker. So you want to be able to find a way through everything they're talking about. How can I be of value to this person after this networking event? And you'll be amazed how many people go to networking events and never follow up. I had that 3 times. I asked people, do you just go to collect business cards? Because you have people that have all these business cards and have never reached out to one of them. So you want to make sure after you're doing all this, you're going through the hoorah, you want to make sure that you're actually exchanging information for one. And I tell people when they go to this is not the segment where I talk about career fairs, but I talk about career fairs. I'm not going to go too far into that because we don't have too much time left. But one thing I was going to tell you, when you go into this, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to give something of value back. So you want to look at, what they're talking about. If you have any type of knowledge that you can share, be able to present that to them and see if there's a way that, hey, they say that, I'm doing blah, 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 and I've actually had someone say, I'm looking for so-and-so, and if you know someone, see if you can, hey, give me your contact information. I'd love to help you out. Make sure you can find some type of common ground. That's why I think it's so good to be able to find out who's going to be there, so you already have a little bit of background knowledge about them. But if you can find some common ground to break the ice outside of this is my name, this is what I do, and this is what I'm looking to get from you. No one wants to hear that. So you want to find how can I break the ice and include them as well, but also be able to give them something in the process. And that's when the follow-up comes in handy. When you follow up, make sure you include something that they spoke to you about. Something that's going to jog their memory. Because if you go to these networking events, and like you said, there may be close to 200 people there, they're going to at least have met 20 to 30 people before they left. What about you is going to stand out in their mind? So when you do follow up, and I tell people, take index cards. And this was one thing I said to do with job fairs too, because it seems like everybody runs out of business cards. So take index cards, cut them in half. So don't take a huge 3x5, but just cut the index card in half. And what I used to do is after someone handed me their business card, And of course I don't do it in front of their face, but after they hand, we say our goodbyes and, hey, well, thank you, I'm going to walk around and mingle, you throw that line out there, and I take out a little index card and I'll jot down a couple things that was memorable about that person. And I'll, put it with their business card. So when I reached out, I already knew, because believe me, I can't remember everybody I run to at a networking event. And, no telling, if they're serving alcohol, you definitely not going to remember anything. So if you do this, you can go home and you can look through those business cards and you're going to look at those little index cards and say, oh, yeah, I do remember Bob. Yeah, we did talk about this. So when you connect with this person, you're not connecting with a quote-unquote cookie cutter, hey, we met at such and such. You'll actually be able to have some memorable experience that you can jog their memory, and then you're also going to be able to give them some, hopefully with what you wrote down will prompt you to give them something that you can give. If they're talking about marketing or talking about something with their job, send them an article of interest. If they were talking about what they're doing to move forward with their company, what really will blow their mind, send them what their competition is doing. Hey, I heard that you guys are doing this, but you might want to take a look at your competition and see how that measures up. Let them know that you're in the know. And a lot of people don't do this because it sounds too much like work. But the people that do get over the top results. So I really urge you to do that. And it's not about trying to meet all 200 people that are there, because I can already tell you half of them aren't going to be worth meeting. It's about the quality, not the quantity. And that's why I put that in there. It's not about trying to meet and shake everybody's hand, because that's when you start wasting your time. You want to make sure that you're spending your time wisely. So it's about finding those key people that can actually move mountains in your life. Those decision makers that can actually do something for you versus, talking to anybody, that has an ear and ready to listen. So that's another thing that you want to do as well. So networking, event planning. Are you planning ahead? And I hope I was able to touch some points on what you should do. Next question. Well, should I reach out to a company that I already applied to and interviewed that's now reposting? We already talked about that. At the end of the day, and I put this question at the very bottom, repost a job, what do you have to lose? And I ask you that, you didn't get it. So if you do reach out or you do reapply, what are they going to do? Take it away? You never got the job anyway, so you really don't have anything to lose if you do reach out and inquire about the opportunity. So I wouldn't, and a lot of people do that. They're overthinking. They think, well, I don't want to bug them, or, I maybe, and especially if this is something that happened, and the question, it sounds like this was something that you applied to, about a year ago. So I'm going to be totally honest. They probably don't even remember who you are. Hate to say it, but they probably don't. A lot of stuff happens in a company over a year. So to them, you may be a brand new person. So yes, I would connect. And you said you do have those direct contacts. And I don't know if you saw for sure who posted the job, but recruit coordinators, I can tell you right now, that person may not even be over the job anymore. Or the person may not even be with the company anymore. So make sure that your connections are valid, for one. You did say you had a VP. VPs are pretty, they pretty stay with the company. So that person still probably be the key person you need to reach out to. If they ask you to reapply, go ahead and reapply, even though they may already have your application. But who knows after a year what they do with all those applications, and all those resumes they get. Especially depending on the volume that they get with the what they've received. Get feedback. And the reason why I say get feedback, it was a reason why I interviewed twice and didn't get the job. There's a reason. So if all else fails, try to get feedback on why you didn't get the job to begin with. So if they're going to tell you no, at least walk away with feedback so you know what to implement on your next go-round or with the next opportunity that comes your way. So if anything else, this becomes a learning experience. But I definitely would reach out. And the last but not least is move on. If you don't hear anything, you reach out, they don't tell you anything, move on. Like I tell some people, sometimes it's not about getting the yeses, it's about getting the no's. It's about figuring out who can say the no the fastest so I can move on. Because the reason is you have so many people waiting around, sometimes weeks, months, to get an answer from a company that may have no intentions of hiring you. And guess what? You just lost out. So you definitely don't want to spin your wheels for someone or for a company that may not, produce any fruit, is wasting your time. And at the end of the day, the company's still sleeping good at night. You're the one looking for a job. So even if you reach out, they don't provide you feedback, you don't get the interview, take that as a notion to go ahead and move on. But to answer your question, should you reach out or reapply? Yes. That's just my opinion. Why not? What do you have to lose? Next question. Oh, I like this. I didn't even know I put this in here. Awesome. Interview questions. Another question was asked, what are some good interview questions or some questions that you should ask in an interview? My quote I used to say is not the answer, but the question that brings the insight. Sometimes employers just want to know the questions that you ask just to show even if you're interested. Now, you'll be amazed how some employers look at not asking questions as not being interested, or asking the same questions that you can probably gather from the job description. So that really lets them know, did this person even research the job, or they just asking a question just to ask them? What questions I think you should ask? How has various types of decisions been made in the organization? So that lets you know what type of decisions are being made, how are they being made, who do they go through to be made or to get approved? Lets them know some type of funnel of communication. Explain your organizational structure. So if you're applying for a particular position, you may want to know who do I answer to? Who do they answer to? What kind of work can I expect to do the first year? What are your expectations? So you also are looking at, you've also put yourself in a place that you've already got the job. That's why I love this question. Because it's kind of like, I already got the job, so what do you expect of me the first year? And they can lay out some type of expectation. That also goes with the same question, like the day in the life of this particular role. I like that question as well. Like, a job description really doesn't break down what you'll actually be doing day in and day out. What in the organizational plan for the next 5 years? So basically, where does this position, so if you're applying for, I'm just using marketing manager. If you apply for a marketing manager position, how would this fit into the department or organizational plans in the next 5 years? You want to know, where are you going to be at? They'll also let you know, is it potential for growth there? Am I in a dead-end job, or will I potentially be able to grow with the company within the next 5 years? What are the various ways the employees communicate with one another to carry out their work? Some organizations do everything by email. I've seen some download the little chat bar, and they're chatting away all day with the little chat back and forth. Never any face-to-face contact. So you really want to know, if that's something big to you, you want to know how do the employees interact and communicate with each other? What are the company's strengths and weaknesses? Compared to its competition. Really would blow the employer's socks off if you could answer that question for them. That really would blow their socks off. If you already know their strengths and weaknesses, and you could tell them about their competitor and tell them either how that organization or the company you're interviewing with has an advantage, that'll blow their socks off right there. So really, not even about that question. question. But if you've done the research and be able to tell the organization their strengths and weaknesses and their competition, that would be very, very impressive. You know, and where has this road led with previous employees? That lets you know, is this a recently created position? Or if not, what happened to the last guy that had this job? Did he get fired? Did he get promoted? So that also kind of lets you know, again, where does this job lead to? And if it doesn't lead anywhere, also give you kind of insight, okay, why did this person leave the job? So if they tell you that so-and-so left after being on the job 15 years, you might want to, this guy worked this job for 15 years before he left, what are you getting into? So you might want to think about that as well. These are the questions I'm opening the floor up to. And I'm going to open the lines up. Any questions, definitely raise your hands. I do see some. I have someone that said, also, how did you hear about us? Gives you a list of resources. This was my question. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much. And you said, I have been an educator 10 years. What kind of career seems to... Okay, I think I answered that as well. So I think I got both of the questions that came up that I actually were able to answer. So I'm so happy that I was able to answer. I am getting a lot of thank yous. Thank you so much. Again, I'm opening the floor. If anyone has any questions, definitely answer. If not, it's about 8 o'clock now. This is my contact information. You can email me directly at bbaggett@career-innovate.com. That's the best way to reach me. I rarely answer my phone. Not to say rarely answer. I'm in the field. Put it like that. So I'm not on the phone all day. I'm usually out there networking and trying to shake hands and build relationships. This is on YouTube. Definitely can review this if you need to. When you log off, there's a survey. There's only about 8 questions. I really would like your feedback. Tell me about things I would like to change. I do have a hand that's raised. I'm going to unmute your mic in just a second. So tell me about anything that you'd like to change, any questions you'd like for the next workshop that we have. We do this every single Monday, unless Monday falls on a holiday like Christmas or Thanksgiving. But we have it every single Monday from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. So this is definitely a platform that you can use every week to ask any questions that you need to ask. And please use the survey to let us know any feedback, good or bad. We get bad feedback too, and we try to tweak it. But again, this is for you. I'm going to unmute your mic, and you can tell me your question. Your mic is unmuted. So how can I help you tonight?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm well.
I am the gentleman that had the question about, I'm actually currently an educator.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking to move into corporate. I should have been a little more specific. I don't know why I wasn't. But you did answer that question. I thank you for that, for those five particular job opportunities that are available to me. The only other question that I have is, I'm an English teacher. I know I didn't put that in there, what particular type of teacher I was. So I know that I'm kind of looking at what you said, and I think that would definitely help me with the aspect of the e-learning, because I have the English background for one. But one I guess top question I have is, what type of companies do you think I may need to try to apply with? Are there any particular companies that you can recommend, or is this just something that can probably be done with any kind of company?
Well, I can tell you, I'm gonna mute your mic real quick so there won't be any background noise, okay?
That's fine.
I'm gonna tell you, there are many companies. I want to say all, because if you go too small, there is non-existent. But usually any companies with 100 150 on up, so 150 or more employees, utilize some type of trainer or some type of development specialist for their employees. The smaller companies may not have it, but startups use it because they're just now kind of developing their corporate culture. That's why I said take a look at AngelList, take a look at some of these smaller companies. These companies, it's crucial to have someone in there that can start training and molding their staff, because they're not dealing with 10,000 employees yet. You know, they're not as huge as these Fortune 5 companies, so it's easier for them to start small and get someone in there and start, you know, molding their culture, you know, at its early stages. And I tell people, if you don't create it, your culture, it will create itself. And I tell companies that all the time. So if you don't start, you know, putting in what you want to see, it's going to start creating itself. So yes, all companies in some way, shape, or form, you know, if they're doing training and if they're, you know, doing something to develop their talent, and most companies are, they're starting to realize the value of having, you know, high morale. They're starting to see that this is the core of retaining their good employees. So a lot of them are investing in, like I said, those development specialists. You know, so any company will have it. If are the positions available, that's something that you have to go out and see. Are there, like I said, companies that specialize in this software? Because these companies are now using this software. Yes, I can send you a list of companies that are out there, smaller ones, medium-sized ones, large ones, that are using e-learning software for these huge companies that may have 10,000 employees. You know, and if you ever work for a Fortune 500 company, and I know I have, you know, ever so often I had to get, you know, I had training that was due, you know, and these companies developed the platform to be able to streamline this training to all 10,000 employees. And if you got a job working there, you'll be the person that actually may put together, you know, what this training will look like, you know, since you have the education background. So yes, there are companies out there that develop this software and sell it to these companies to utilize in their training and development. I'll send you a copy of that. Is there any question? I hope that was able to answer your question. I'm unmuting your mic.
Yeah, you did. That was a great answer for me. I'm just, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of a little nervous because I'm really trying to move out of that realm of education, and I'm just looking for all of the help and support I can get, or how I need to do it, and make sure I do it the correct way so I don't make any mistakes. But I know you're gonna make mistakes, but I truly appreciate the help that you're giving, though.
No worries. Thank you some more for joining us. And if you have any questions next week, you know, feel free to submit them. I'm here for you. Okay. Any other questions I see? I see another question. Also, okay, so I think that was the same question I answered. I don't see any other questions listed. If just so happened you submitted a question and I didn't see it, or you know you had your hand raised and I overlooked it, shoot it to me in an email. I'd be more than happy to shoot you a email response or get on the phone with you and you know give you a couple minutes of my time to give you a thorough answer. If not, have a great night and see you next week.